Some days all you need is one prop. So today's one prop is a strap. This is a fairly long strap. It's about 6.5 feet long. So if you have a yoga strap around, grab that and bring it to your mat. If you don't have one around, no worries. You can improvise, or everything that we'll do in this particular class can be done without a strap. I will refer to it the entire time, so don't let that bug you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Namaste. Welcome. My name's Keith. Welcome to this week's therapeutic practice. This practice feels like a rise and shine kind of first thing in the morning practice to me. It's designed to wake up your body and turn on some muscles, shake off any cobwebs from being stiff from sitting all day or from that uncomfortable feeling that some of us have when we wake up in the morning. Start by making yourself comfortable. You can bring your hands right up into the center of your heart. Let your breath get a little bit deeper. And breathe all the way in. The mantra that seems most appropriate for rising and shining and shaking off whatever was in us, on us yesterday, the one that prepares us for a celebration of today, fully expanding into our truest self today, is the Gāyatrī mantra. Sāvitur váreṇyaṃ, bhārgo devásya dhīmahi, dhīyo pracodáyāt. Humbly Sāvitur váreṇyaṃ, bhārgo devásya dhīmahi, dhīyo pracodáyāt. Sāvitur váreṇyaṃ, bhārgo devásya dhīmahi, dhīyo pracodáyāt. Earth, heavens, and atmosphere, we meditate on the light of the radiant divine. We offer ourselves humbly to that great sphere, the source of all things, so that it might be our guide, so that it might illuminate our path, so that might deepen and strengthen our practice. Breathe in for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take your strap if you have one and open it up so that you've got the buckle side in one hand, and then stretch it so it's a little bit wider than your shoulder width, a little bit wider than your torso, and then lie down on your back. Stretch your legs out and rest on your heels, so that your toes angle up to the ceiling, just to give yourself a real sense of anatomical neutral in your legs. And then take your strap at that width that you've set up and lay it across your pelvis. You can let it drape a little bit so there's some softness, but notice when your legs want to turn off. Just by keeping your legs turned in, you're going to stay a little bit more lively and awake through your lower half, through your hips, through the muscles in your legs. And that's going to change the feeling in your back. You might have a little bit more sense of action there. And then lift your wrists off the ground and keep your arms fully extended. And right away, pay attention if you start to feel any tension in your neck or any flattening of your cervical spine against the floor or flattening of your lumbar spine against the floor. And then breathe in and reach it up. And then as you exhale, take it back over to where you started again. And then continue that. And if you notice that there is some sort of blockage or some sort of restriction, when you get to the point right alongside your jaw or your ears, try to make your arms a little bit longer as you reach toward the ground. So you give yourself some space in the joint capsule of your shoulder. Avoid wanting to go quickly. And notice when you change the curves in your spine to accommodate your shoulders. And see if you can keep your spine as neutral as it was before you began. You might also be aware that your two arms are not moving at the same pace. And if you can encourage them to stay alongside each other and work in tandem, it becomes really interesting. It's hard to do, for sure. You notice right when you get to your pelvis or when you get over toward the ground, if you just feel your knuckles almost meeting the mat, it tells you which hand is getting there first. And I'm not willing to say that it's a bad thing if there's a millimeter or two lead in one hand. You don't want to be lopsided. But if as you get to the floor, your right knuckle feels like it's meeting the ground before your left knuckle, not the end of the world. But do see if you can even it out, just in your intention. This one feels very much like the first stretch of the morning, the first morning stretch when you sit on the edge of the bed. So let it fill up your lungs as much as it's also giving you some fresh range of motion in your shoulders. Take it up and over 2 more times. Notice when the strap wants to get saggy, see if you can keep it taut, all without gripping for dear life. Go over, up, and open, up and over one more time. Open over, up and over, up and over. And then land when you get back over to your pelvis. And simply release for a moment. You can turn your palms open and give your wrists some shape. Roll them around. Set the soles of your feet flat for a sec. And add to your loop, or add to your strap, a little loop that you can just fit a foot through. Right? So it's pretty small. Sometimes it makes a difference which way the strap is pointing. So right now I have the buckle side of the loop pointing to the right. And that's just going to make it easier as I set up the shape. Once I've got that, I'm going to extend my left leg again and cross my left ankle over my right. And then begin to scoot yourself over to the left side of your mat so that there's some clearance to the right. Because we'll be taking what's often called banana, moving into some lateral flexion with the addition of the strap. So the strap's over on my right side now, and I'm going to take my left arm and cross over so that my left hand is still higher up than my right, and then extend out to the right side with my right arm. So it feels like my right arm is moving perpendicular to my spine. And then as I'm doing that, I'm going to inchworm my shoulders over to the right side of my mat so that I flex my spine to the right. So there's lateral flexion through my spine. And then I'm going to continue pressing out with my right arm. And it's the reaching out with my right arm and then extending my left arm up so that my arms feel like they're in some sort of victory shape. And then I'm going to curve just a little bit more to add more room to my left ribs. And this is the spot where you might start to notice that your pelvis is no longer balanced. Right now, the left side pops up. So if I can roll the left side of my pelvis down and then settle into the middle of it, I suddenly have more room to bend to the right again. Just like when you're going up and over with the strap, if you're feeling any stuckness in your left arm, get longer through the armpit skin and then let your arm drop toward the ground. If that is not good for your arm, just release the strap and reshape your arm into more of a cactus bend. But when I press out with the right side, with my right hand into the strap, it gives a couple of actions to the experience. So I immediately feel active, which is important, but I can feel how my right waist turns on and my left waist gets just a little bit more encouragement to have more length. No need to do anything special with your feet here. It's all in your mid-body. And then you use the reach of your arms. You can even cinch your grip a little bit as you find more room so that it feels like the bowstring is getting pulled a little bit more taut in preparation for the arrow to fly. If there's any more room, you can shimmy over to the right one last time. Wobble on the back of your skull. Try to breathe as naturally as you can. But imagine that you've got more breath going over to your left ribs and fill up on that side of your body. I always notice the top of my hip on the left side this first bend, that there's more space than I can get really anywhere else from the top of my hip bone up to the base of my rib cage, carving out some new space. And then soften your elbows. The strap come to your chest. Start to inchworm back onto your mat. Uncross your left ankle. Try to find as much sense of center for a moment. And then switch it up so that now your loop goes to the other foot. So just like before, I'm going to change it so the buckle side points over to the left side of my mat before I loop my foot. Cross your right ankle over your left. Scoot your body toward the right edge of your mat. You've got room to the left. And then take the strap and cross it over to your left side. Stack your right hand on top and press outward with your left arm. Reach upward with your right. And if I don't curve my body, then I can't really get the full benefit of it there. So by curving over, side bending, I start to find more space, more potential room. So I can press out. Notice your pelvis and even out. And also acknowledge the difference in the two sides. You may not have as much room on one side of your body. That's okay. Don't force it. Roll down your right hip. Inchworm a little bit more. You can cinch up your grip and shorten things. Tighten the bowstring a bit. Reach longer through your right arm. Roll back your shoulder. The shape is really lovely as a passive experience when there is no strap. But when you add the action, it really feels like cracking yourself open, creating new space, finding space that's been lost, rather than simply stretching the soft tissue. Go actively into new space. And that's the great thing about every new day. We have the choice to meet the day passively, go with what is, or we can see each day as the potential for new action, to carve out new room, to carve out new expanse. And it's a choice that we get to make. Some days we make the choice to be passive, sink in that way. Other days we need to be active. Honor whichever is right for you. See if you can take over one more notch to the left if there's room for that. It's usually in that last hinge where you find the space from the top of your hip up through your side body. You may find that in the first side bend. We're all different, right? Couple more breaths on this side. And then soften through your arms. Bring the strap to your chest. Start with your head, and then your shoulders and your hips. Undo the loop from your foot. Set your soles flat. Come to the middle. And then make your loop a bit longer. It's about the length of my arm, maybe slightly shorter. Sometimes the lateral bending can feel like it unsettles your sacrum a little bit, or the SI joint. So take the strap, hook it onto your feet. It's nice to have the tail in the middle so you know where it is. You're not really doing anything with it, you're just keeping it from bouncing around on the side or maybe going to your face. Put your knees at a 90-degree bend or so, and then it's going to be opposition with your legs. So that as I extend my right leg long, I'm going to pull my left knee into a deeper bend. And then extend long with my left leg and pull my right leg into a bend. So I'm pressing with the pinky edge of my right foot out to the right, so off center, pulling in the opposite direction with my left knee off center and back. Using my hip flexor to pull my knee back. Extending through the whole pinky edge of my foot. So you'll feel the quad working in there on your extended leg. And you don't need to go to the point of trying to lower your legs where they're parallel to the floor. But if you work with that initial 90-degree angle on your knee, and you think about going forward, the angle from your foot to the floor will be a little bit smaller than 45 degrees. If you go up too high, you miss out on the goodness of what's happening in your abdominals right now. If you go down too low, you start to do too much in your abdominals, and if they're not strong, your back might suffer a little bit. So work in the plane that makes the most sense for your body, and press and pull, and tugging on the muscles of your hips, and just giving your sacrum a little readjust, even if it didn't feel like you got wonky by lateral bending. Balancing the muscles around your pelvis and asking them to do their job helps secure and stabilize what wants to happen at your SI joint when there's tendencies for it to feel wonky. Just a couple more there. Last leg. And then pause and set your feet down for a moment. You can let your knees drop in to quiet the muscles on your outer hips. Give yourself a whole breath in. And a whole breath out. With your strap at the same distance, take your legs up to the ceiling. Open your arms out wide. And notice when the strap gets saggy here. So press out against the strap just to keep it taut without becoming aggressive about it, because you don't want to stress out your knees. Take a breath in, and then let your legs drift over toward your right before coming back. And then exhale your legs over to the left. And the change there is not so big, right? Not so big that it feels like work to get your legs up to vertical again. Just enough movement that you feel your abdominals having to turn on to keep your legs from collapsing to the floor. And you can test the waters and allow your legs to get a little bit heavier to the floor, but then notice what your arms want to do. If it all turns into your arms doing the work, then your legs have gone too far. Definitely keep your gaze up toward the ceiling. And when you look in the direction of your legs, what your brain wants to do to tell us how far we've gone, you tend to turn on the muscles around your neck, and you can strain there. So see if you can avoid that. By pressing out against the strap the entire time, you can feel the muscles around your outer hip. Again, creating a sense of security around your pelvis. Take it a few more times in each direction. Last couple in each direction. Remember, it's the exhale that takes your legs over because it's a twist. Right? There's a sense of rotating. And you always want to twist with an exhale, emptying out. Last one over to the right. And to the left. And then come back, pause, and then bend your knees and drop your soles to the floor. Slip your feet out of the strap, gather it up, and roll onto your side. Come on up to sit. And then you can begin to undo whatever loop you've got in your strap and open it up. Once you've taken the loop out of the strap, put the buckle in one hand so it doesn't bounce around, and then take the strap around the back side of your neck. You want the strap to fit into the middle part of your neck where the natural curve of your cervical spine hopefully is. And you're going to walk into yourself so that the strap is close, or your hands are close to your face. You don't want your arms extended out too far. A little bend in your elbows. Fit the strap around your neck so there's no creases in it. Go against your skin. And then gently pull the strap forward. Watch out for changing your chin here. So you don't want your chin to go up or down, but stay as neutral as possible. And watch out for leaning forward. See if you can sit as tall as possible. And imagine that you're tugging the strap into the curve of your spine to help accentuate whatever curve is there, and then add just a bit of pressure in the opposite direction against the strap. So it shouldn't feel aggressive, it shouldn't feel painful. It should feel almost like you just leaned back into a seat that supports your posture. There is some uplift at your chest. You can unhinge your jaw. Notice when your elbows want to wing, and just drop them in. They're also not squeezing into your body, but if you can narrow in some, and maybe even separate your hands to match that space of your elbows, then the pulling is less likely to feel aggressive. Give yourself a couple more breaths here. And then soften your arms. Drop your hands to your knees. You can move your fingers around so that if there was any tension that showed up from gripping, you can get rid of that. Feel free to change the crossing of your legs. And then the strap, same kind of grip, now is going to move up. So if you get your strap above your ear line, and then try to fit the strap right at the base of your skull. It's still a close grip. My hands have moved forward just a little bit away from my body now. And then it's that same pressure back into the strap. So I put a little pressure against the strap with my skull, and then I direct upwards with my elbows. So I feel as though I'm getting a tug of extra length through my cervical spine. Now, when I really engage with my posture and I allow myself to puff up into my chest, I'll also feel the muscles across my back turn on. Right? So if that's an unfamiliar sensation to you, don't be alarmed. And it's that uplift through your thoracic spine that helps add some more length up into your cervical spine. So even though the work in the muscles behind your heart, across your middle traps, might feel like more than you want when you're rising and shining, know that it's going to aid in the overall freedom and length through your neck. Just a couple more breaths. And then soften, soften, soften. Let the strap go, open and close your hands a couple times. And then begin to drape the strap over your right shoulder. And as you do, grip the strap. So I'm holding with my left hand in front and my right hand at the back. And even there, just put some natural weight into your hands so that if your shoulder has a tendency to creep up by your ear, that just having your hands on the strap can drop your shoulder away from your ear. And that's already going to make a difference in the muscles that run across this ridge up here, all the way up to your neck. And then you can add to that by wiggling the strap and working it into the muscle. So when I feel like I'm meeting the muscle close to my neck without it feeling like I'm cutting into my skin. And then I'm going to pull my arm so my left hand pulls across my body some more. And again, I don't want to cut in. And then I'm going to pull straight down behind me with my right hand. And then when you begin to tilt your head over toward your left shoulder, you expose the muscle a little bit more. And once you get there and you can feel it, a little turn of your head that says no. Keep some room between your upper and lower teeth. Pause over to the side and nod yes a couple of times. And then a little bit like drying yourself off with a towel or scrubbing with a washcloth, move your hands back and forth. You can let your jaw hang open while you do that. And then still the movement, soften your grip. Take your strap now over to the opposite side, so you drape it over your left shoulder. Use your right hand on the buckle in front. Use your left hand at the back. And then just drop the natural weight of your hands into the strap so that the skeleton can really drop. And then as a result, the muscles around your shoulder and neck can get some space. And then add to that wiggle. Cut across your midline without cutting into your skin. And pull the strap with your right hand. Pull down with your left hand. Tilt your head over to the right. Expose the muscle. Puff up through the side of your neck so you feel your left neck puffing up as much as you're tilting over to the right side. So there's a tilt and then there's a meeting, an upward action. And then the resistance is applied through the strap. And then you've got your no. And a yes. Pause. And then a little scrub. Wash away yesterday. Wash away 5 minutes ago. And then pause and release. And you can take the strap away from your shoulder. Take the strap around behind you. And again, it's nice to have a buckle in your hand so that it doesn't hit you or climb on the floor. And hold the strap like it's a bit of a opening of a cape. And draw your elbows into your body. And then go from side to side so that as I reach out to the left side, and my left arm gets long, my right hand kind of tucks right behind my right hip. And then pass that across so that I extend out with my right arm and come close to my body with my left elbow. And then take that across again. And as I do that, I'm going to turn down to the floor with my right hand so the grip changes. And that allows me to find more room and get more of a reach. I didn't change the grip, but more of a reach because I went further behind my back. And as I go around, I can switch that again, hold the buckle. So now I've got one palm forward and one palm backward, and reach. And then come back to the center. And now I will shorten the grip a little bit. Turn down with your right hand. Reach out with your left arm so I can even hook around so that my right knuckles show up somewhere next to my left hip. And then reach forward. And in that reaching forward, I want to feel like I'm still sitting as much in the center. I haven't turned my body. But then cross your arm across. Reach, 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 reach. And resist turning with it. And then come back and switch that. So I change my grip, extend, so I can tuck my left arm behind my body, and then come forward. And in the reaching forward, I can feel my shoulder blade on the right side moving away from my spine. And then across, 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 across. And resist going with it. And then come back. Pause. Shorten your grip one more time, perhaps. So as I reach out with my left arm, and my right elbow tucks behind, I can really feel like I'm tugging my own arm around my back through the strap, through my left arm, and then come around, go across. Once I'm across, I'm just going to turn my head. So a little mini twist that happens mostly up top, but you'll feel the action at your waist, resisting the twist. Come back through, change your grip, tuck around behind yourself, cross your body, and then once you're across, it almost feels like I'm trying to twist my body in the opposite direction. Then just add your gaze, looking over the left. But at the same time, I'm turning a little bit right at my belly. Extend your shoulder blade away from your spine. And then come back through the middle and pause. From there, make your way onto your knees. Once you're up on your knees, again, buckle in your hand, lay the tops of your feet flat, and open your strap fairly wide, so it feels like you're almost at your full wingspan. And then reach that up and just let it go right behind your head. So I can just feel it at the top edge of my head, not behind my head at my neck, but just up. So I can even shorten just a little bit there. Just hiding behind my head. So my arms have a pretty widened, almost flattened V shape. Take a breath in, and then use the exhale to tilt. Inhale back up through center, and then exhale in the opposite direction. And you might notice as you continue that because your grip is wide, the tendency to only shift your arms is harder to move into. So I can't bring my arm, if I'm really pressing out in both directions, I can't move my arm to my head. Moving your arm to your head will make it feel like you're moving into the side bend without actually doing. If I go here, it feels like, oh yeah, I'm getting this big stretch in my side body, but I'm not really. But if I go here and tilt, I have to turn on my waist and press down into my opposite knee to get there. So that when I'm leaning over to the ground, I have to press into the top of my foot. And then from there, as you tilt, you can add your gaze toward the floor and maybe touch through center, up and over, gaze to the ground. Keep pressing in both directions with your arm. Touch. One more time. Lean, reach, press, touch. Last time. Good. Take the strap around in front and then come on up to stand. Once you're up standing, widen out your feet for a big straddle. Take the strap with your palms open and reach out across. So pretty much full arm span, maybe slightly shorter. Because you want to be able to pull the strap taut. And if you have elbows that hyperextend, shortening up a little bit will feel nice. And then like an old school windmill, it'll be your mirror, okay? Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, drop across with your left arm toward the floor by your big toe. And then come back up. And then as you exhale, drop across your body over toward your left big toe. And come back up. And take it that way again. Windmilling across toward your right big toe. And then windmilling across toward your left big toe. Right? And all the while the strap is taut, I'm going to shorten the strap just a tiny bit and add to that. So as I begin to windmill across my body toward my right foot, turn your toes, bend your knee, and then touch your instep. Keep the strap strong. Come back through the middle. As I windmill across toward my left foot, pivot on your heel, turn out your toes, bend your knee, touch the ground near your instep. And then trade that side to side. Pivot on your right heel, bend your right knee, cross over to your instep, touch, up through the middle. Pivot, turn your toes, bend your left knee, touch your instep, and back up. Again, pivot, bend, touch, parallel, across, pivot, bend, touch. Rotating your spine, working the muscles of your arm one more time in each direction. Getting into your inner hip as you rotate. And then come back and soften. Heel toe your feet in. Pause, take a breath in, and exhale. When you were on your back going up and over, morning stretch, right? That gave you a sense of range of motion in your shoulder. Take a similar movement, shorter than the last grip, but much wider than the beginning. And think about kayaking, right? Think about kayaking but not having elbows. I don't know how that works, but, right? So that when I go up and over, I am going to tug over to one side and let my arm drop. And then go around behind, and then go up and over again until I come back to the front. And at first, you might notice that your waist really wants to help the shift of your arm. Not terrible, but minimize that. So as I go up and around, I want to keep my waist from tilting and side bending. Might mean that you don't go as deep with your arm, so it might not go all the way down by your side. Might feel like it sticks out like an open cape behind you. And you might notice that you need to have that tilt in your waist on one side more than the other. Use the breath in to go into the movement. And then finish it with the exhale. Exhaling. Inhale. And exhale. One more cycle. Inhale. And exhale. Finish it up going inhale. once it's back around, let your arms hang down. Roll your shoulders a couple times. And you can begin to put a loop into your strap. And it'll be, at first, a big loop, and then it'll get smaller. And then start to make your way down to the floor. Once you're down on the floor, if you're looking at the loop, the buckle side is over on your right. If you're left-handed, you could put it over on the left, and that'll make sense in just a moment. But by doing so, I know where the tail is, and my tail is going toward my toes. So that once I get it there, I can hook over my feet, or under my feet, under or over, one or the other, so that the strap goes behind your knees. And that's why the tail is important now. So I can tighten up the tail so that the strap tightens up and brings me close to myself, so that my chest and my thighs are close to each other. And then once I'm there, I'm going to find some balance on my sitting bones. And once you're balanced on your sitting bones, let your feet dangle. And that might be enough, just to have this balance and this hanging out. Or you can hold on to your thighs or touch the ground. And then with the breath in, extend one leg and let your opposite toes touch the ground. So that as I bend my right knee, my left leg gets long, trading side to side. And what hopefully you feel with the strap, as you can press against the strap when you're extending your leg, so that you keep upright rather than rolling backward. So that if you were to practice this version of Navasana, you would want that same quality of being held here so that your chest stays uplifted without leaning back or rolling back. Extend your left leg one more time. Pause and have your toes touch the ground. Interlace your fingers just in front of your face there. And then both legs at the same time. So as you breathe in, and then you exhale. Inhale your legs long, and exhale. Inhale both legs long. So then you begin to feel how your hips are involved in the potential experience of balancing in Navasana. That it isn't just your abdominals or your hip flexors, but you really feel how your outer hips play a role. And this point when your legs get to their full length. Last couple. And then pause once your knees are bent. Drop your soles. Release your arms. And then loosen up your strap so that you create a fairly long loop. And then once you've got the loop, take it around your upper back and around the back of your neck and around the back of your skull. So it feels like what you were doing before. And then it's going to be your right foot that goes into the loop. So this is why the long loop is important. I know where the tail is, it's going to be toward the ground. So as I shift down onto my back, I'm going to position the strap so that when I release my head to the ground, it feels completely heavy to the floor. That I know that I'm not pulling my head off the ground and not taking my spine into flexion, and my leg can get to this vertical. So vertical might be the best place for you. If your hamstrings have a little bit more room, when you tighten the strap, you can lift your head to tighten your strap. Drop your head again. Your leg might come a little bit closer to you. And And that's going to open up some more length through the back side of your leg. Notice where the strap is, how it crosses your foot. So if it's in the arch surface of your foot, it's better and it serves you better than if it's up on your toes someplace. Because if it's on your toes, it's going to almost force your foot into a big flex, and you don't need that. You're also not pressing your leg into the strap and trying to make it straighter or trying to force the experience. My leg is pretty full in its extension, but it's not hyperextending, and I'm not trying to quote unquote stretch my hamstrings out. They're getting length for sure. Turn off your opposite leg on the floor. Rest your hands somewhere. Imagine releasing around your right hip. And add just a little action of your low back toward the ground. It naturally wants to get long here, but if you accentuate the work moving your back toward the ground, you're less likely to quiver in your leg. Take your hands to the strap near your head. Undo your head for a moment. Change your feet. So now your left foot's going to go into the strap. Release your right leg down. Restrap your head. And release down. Find the sweet spot where the strap sticks to your head. And it may or may not stick to your head. If you've got a lot of hair, it can be kind of tricky. Clearly, I don't know what that's like. So at first, when I land here, I'm not really doing anything with my back. Just trying to notice what's happening with my leg and how my leg is responding to this. And then the moment I feel the muscle in my upper leg, through my quads, wanting to quiver, that's when I drop my back into the ground. So fire at your abdominals, lower your back, and I already felt the strap get a little loose, right? So when I did that, I got more room overall. I could even tighten the strap a notch. Just that little bit of action, meeting the passive, changes the experience of how I move into this shape, how this shape moves into me. Spend another moment here. For your rest, the strap is still going to be used, so if you're not using a strap, you can take what I'm about to offer and move it over to a wall and put your legs up a wall, or you can take a simple shavasana as well, whatever is the most restful for you. If you're keeping the strap, reach toward the strap around your head, lift your head for a moment, and then cross your right ankle in front of your left. Strap around your head again. Release your head down. Now you'll definitely feel your low back against the floor. Feels a little bit like being in a hammock.
soften your knees some, and then extend them and play with that. Begin to let your breath become shallow. Remembering that your neck should feel neutral, right? Not flattening your neck, not pushing against the strap. It's the natural weight of your head. You can lay your arms out. Turn your palms open. And then change your crossing just to balance out. Tilt your head left and right as you do. See if you can feel heavier for the last few moments. Take in a deeper, fuller breath. Send your hands to the strap. Release your head. Undo your feet. Move the strap off to the side. Windshield wiper your knees. Roll to your side to make your way up to sit. Bring your hands up into your heart. We are one life, we are one light, and we are one love. We bow to honor the light in each other. Peace be with you, blessings upon you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again next time.